All right, I'm going to play the song, and then we'll get started. All right, here we go.
We are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, part of Dash Radio. Special guests today, we have Keif, Madhatter, and Angel, part of the director and stars of Orange and the Blues documentary. Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Well, thank you
for having us.
Thank you.
I'm here as well. We have there's five of us in the show today, so we're going to go play 5-on-5 with another podcast after the show.
Okay.
Awesome. So these guys, Keif Roberts made a documentary about Knicks fandom. It's pretty awesome. Keif, can you tell us a little more about the documentary?
Okay, so I actually started shooting, I think it was at June of 2021. My first shoot was at Game 5, the playoffs against Atlanta, which, of course the Knicks lost, but that was the beginning of it, But it had been I've been thinking about doing this documentary for a long time. I've been a Knicks fan since 84, 85. Hubie Brown years, Bernard King. Bernard King was my favorite player. We've been through a lot of ups and downs. We had some ups in the 90s. That was really my golden period, for me, watching the Knicks make the finals and stuff. And it just occurred to me, this is a film that has to be made, coming from the perspective of Knicks fans and what we've been through, and sort of what we've been put through. And so, yeah, it's by a Knicks fan for, Knicks fans. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a couple themes from the documentary. First, Knicks fans must be the most diehard Knicks fans around because our team has been through a lot of misery, and yet we're just so goddamn loyal.
Yeah.
Also, that James Dolan, you guys are not a fan of, which most people are not. And that the 90s were awesome, and now we are waiting for just the NBA gods to turn it around for us.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Dolan, of course, was a big part of this. He has to be. But I wanted this to be really about the fans. I don't know if it made the actual feature film, but there was a line from one in the trailer. I think it was a fan I interviewed, and he said, real Knicks fans don't worry about Dolan. Aren't consumed by Dolan. So I really wanted this to be about the fans, but of course Dolan is a big part of the story.
Yeah, no, of course. The Knicks fans, I have to say, the couple years back, the Knicks were terrible. They won 17 games, and the year before they drafted, right before they drafted RJ, and game 17, the 17th win, the last game of the season. MSG is going crazy for a team that just won that has the worst record in the NBA.
Yeah.
And that just says how awesome the Knicks fans are.
Yeah.
So Angel, can you tell us more about yourself and how your Knicks fandom?
Well, my Knicks fandom started back around 1988, 89. I was about 7 or 8 years old. It was in the height, the rise of Michael Jordan and, just the rise of, the popularity of basketball. And, me not knowing anything, I learned it from my dad. My dad has been a diehard Knicks fan since the 60s. And he's always been telling me, you got to root for the Knicks. You're a New Yorker. You got, and I think in the documentary, he even mentions it. Taking some pride in your city and where you come from. And there's really no other team, for the exception of maybe one other one, where the pride of New York is in full display. If you look at the Knicks uniform, it says New York. It doesn't say Knicks. It doesn't say anything else. It says New York. And I've been a fan of that. Patrick Ewing was my favorite player, even though, growing up, for some reason, I kind of favored John Starks, and people thought that he was my real dad. because I mimicked a lot of his mannerisms and even the way he shot. Where he wore the wristband on the elbow and stuff like that. And I've been a fan ever since. We've been through some doldrums and we've been through some dungeons, and then we've had some gleaming lights of happiness and joy, and times to be prideful. But for the most part, it's a loyalty that you can't put a price on, even though James Dolan tries to put a price on it a lot, with the ticket sales and what it costs for merchandise and cable deals and all that other stuff. But for the most part, I'm very proud of my participation in this film, just because I wanted to exhibit what a real fan and what it really defines. It's more than just buying season tickets. It's more than just going to all the games and buying all the gear. It's an emotional investment. It's a true spiritual investment to an organization, to the city, to the garden, and to each other, the fans.
I have a question. You brought up the financial aspect of it. I love the Knicks, but like I can only afford to go to so many games. I want to take my son to games, and maybe I can afford 1 or 2 games a year. Do you think how expensive it is to go to a game holds back like the fandom in any way?
Well, obviously, it absolutely does. I mean, if you want to go to a Knicks game, like I was checking out tickets for tomorrow's game in Brooklyn, and I found some suitable seats. Then I tried to look for that same game down the line in January at Madison Square Garden, and on the same area, the prices are almost 3 times the size. The price, and I look at that. Why? Because it's Madison Square Garden? Because James Dolan told us that it's so? I mean, it's the same team in just a different venue. And I feel that your fan, first of all, if you can't afford to go to a Knicks game, your fandom is not questioned. I don't think that you can really put a price on fandom. However, true Knicks fans, they do make a financial investment, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in season tickets or courtside. And besides, Madison Square Garden, they cater to the celebrities and the corporate accounts, around the city. And to the tourists.
They sure do.
It's not even for the fan anymore. The most common fan sits behind Chase Bridge, where some of the view is obstructed. Unless you're just you're more financially able, or you save, like you just said, you save a lot of money to buy that one game that you possibly find, and you can get a decent seat. Aside from that, all those prices for the concessions, for the entry, not to mention parking, if you don't take the subway, is just ridiculous to me.
Yeah,
it is like you feel like they should be tacking the cost of admission onto your mortgage. But Mad Hatter,
give it time.
Mad Hatter, I'd love to hear about your Knick fandom and what the team means to you.
Wow. Well, the team means to me, this is a more than a team. This is family. My loyalty is ridiculous. It goes back when I was a kid in the barbershop. I wasn't into sports too much. I was in the chair. This is where ashtrays was in the armchair. Remember that? Okay, that's how old it was. So anyway, it was a gentleman in the chair, and the barber was bad-mouthing the Knicks. The gentleman raised up out the chair, and I thought, I was still confused. But this guy, I mean, violence is not the key, but he wanted to get physical. But when my father explained to me, well, the barber said something bad about Patrick Ewing. And I'm like, Patrick Ewing, who is that? So it was explained to me. The first name was given to me, the Beast of the East. I'm a horror fan. So with that, it intrigued me. But anyway, it drew me to the Knicks. I am a die-hard, loyal fan to family. Okay? So the Knicks is my family. These colors is my blood. I wear this right now it's cold. I toned down a little. But everything. If you know me or know of me, it's not just everybody call me. Right now, I'm in a place where it's destined. We was in the train station, on the train. Anyway, I'm known as the Mad Hatter online. I have birthed myself online in several groups. I own now, at this point, about 750 Knick hats.
Oh
I've been
crap!
wearing
I bet it's
I've been
more.
wearing a Nick hat every day since my birthday. My birthday was June 16th. I have not repeated so far a Nick hat.
Can I ask you? Just interrupt. What is your prized Nick hat? Your best, the number one.
I have this top hat. I don't have it, but I'm on my way to work. I need to be. I work
Yeah.
overnight. I have this top hat that I created, and over like hats that was destroyed or patches that I got because, like I said, it runs in my blood. I have a tattoo, Knicks. Anything someone see that know me Knicks, they give it to me. So patches is all over this top hat.
Awesome. Do we lose Mad Hatter again?
Probably.
I think
Probably. Hey, while waiting for him to come back, Angel, can you tell everyone what's behind you? Because you have some cool stuff behind you.
Yeah, I'm in my garage, and I actually try to fashion my garage into like Madison Square Garden in my own little way. Right behind me, you'll see the retired numbers. Every single retired number by the New York Knicks, from Earl to Pearl to Patrick to even Red Holzman 613, along with our only 2 championship banners hanging down. And I have a Giants wall over here. I have a Yankee corridor over there. But this is my pride and joy right here. Is my Nick. It's like my Nick mausoleum in a sense. And it's something that people were. My parents were like, "What are you doing?" It's like, no, I'm turning this place into the garden because just like Matt Hatter was saying in the documentary, and he said it just a little while ago too. The garden is like my home. I can remember, tons of memories that have happened at Madison Square Garden. And, not just Knicks stuff, but the vast majority has to do.
Hey, Mad Hatter.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to come back to you, but when you're not on, any chance you could mute yourself when you're not on, just because it's loud where you are?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
No
Just the
problem.
background of the air. But hey, I meant to come back to you. We lost you before. I was going to ask you. Besides the top hat, what is your most prized piece of Knicks memorabilia?
My signature. I have a signature and a picture with John Starks that I received last year. It was everything to me. I went to an event to where I was supposed to meet a Knicks alumni, and it happened that night. The next day, they said, "Hey, come down to the bar. It's gonna be someone here," but they never explained who. And I got Raymond Felton and John Starks.
Nice.
And it was
Awesome.
pictures and autographs, and that's everything to me.
Awesome.
And it's everything. And a picture of Frazier, that they had an event in 155th in Harlem this past summer, and I was able to actually sit with Walt Clyde Frazier, and I have a picture and a little video. And I think I was the only one that was able to get that close to sit with him and have a conversation.
That's awesome.
It's like everything to me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Mad Hatter has 750 hats. He has a tattoo. He's got everything. Angel has built the MSG in his garage. Keif, you're in kind of a barren room. Nothing around you. What's going on, Keif? You don't seem like much of a Knicks fan at all. Where's the tattoo? Where are all the hats? Where's the mausoleum?
Well, I got the T-shirt. I'm a Nick minimalist. I don't have too much gear, but I share this apartment with my girlfriend. She'll kill me if I have too much gear. So we have a minimalist apartment here. So, but it's all in here. It's in my heart. All the
awesome.
It's not on the outside. It's in my heart. And I made a film about it. So.
I was just gonna say you showed your love through making a documentary. So So the documentary is awesome. Everyone should see it. I don't want to ruin too much of it. But I wanted to kind of switch gears now to talk about the current team.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think? So the Knicks right now, I saw this online. I thought this was interesting. This is from John Hollinger. He said, "Are the Knicks a simulation? They are now 5-5 with a 0.0 point differential. They are 16th in offense, 16th in defense, 15th in SRS, which I don't know what even that is. They have played 5 home games and 5 road games. They are 1-1 in overtime. They are as middle of the road as you can be right now. 500. What do you guys think? Keif, you first. What do you think of the current team?
They're a 500 team. I don't see them win. Yeah, I mean, you just said it. I mean, all the statistics bear that out. I think they were, 41 win team, 38, 39, 41 wins, something like that. But I mean, they're an entertaining team at least. I mean, as you were talking about a little while ago, I mean, they were a 17 win team, a few years ago, 10 years ago or something. And they're an entertaining team. They have good. There's some characters on the team, and they play hard under Tibbs. I mean, that's the one thing that under previous coaches they didn't play hard all the time. I don't know much longer they could continue to do that. And I feel like Randall last year kind of gave up. I mean, a lot of yeah, it didn't look good last year. His body language, and hopefully he continues to play hard. I mean, he's a big key. I think Randall's a big key into their success. But I think they're a 500 team.
Angel, why should we be hopeful as Knicks fans?
We should be hopeful because for the first time in more than a decade, we have a point guard.
Yes.
Amen.
And to be honest, I don't think that we've seen the best of Jalen Brunson yet. I feel that once he gets acclimated to being here with the Knicks and getting accustomed to to his teammates, and chemistry starts to keep on working. I mean, Tibbs, for better or for worse, he's at least experimenting, and that's. I mean, eventually he's gonna figure it out, and he's gonna have something, or that's his job. But in the meantime, you have to be at least kind of excited with the fact that Jalen Brunson is on this team. We still have, the usual suspects. We still have R.J. Barrett. We still have Julius Randle. Obi Toppin is, all of a sudden, is becoming a factor. I know we lost Mitch for a couple of, for about a week or two, but he'll be back. Isaiah Hartenstein is where did he come from? And I think there's the Knicks are still a 500 team, but I think that they have a run in them, and similar to that the 9-10 game win streak that we had a couple of years ago, and I think that they can possibly make the play in. But, Eastern Conference is not a pushover conference as it used to be. There's a lot of good teams. I mean, Cleveland is amazing. You still got Milwaukee. You don't know what you're going to get out of Brooklyn or Philadelphia, even though they're starting off, poorly. But they're, it's just a matter of time till they start figuring it out. And, you still got the defending Eastern champs in Boston Celtics. I mean, they came to the Garden the other night and they handled business. And, it was a good test for the team, for the Knicks, to go up against the defending Eastern Conference champions and take their lickings, because now they know what they're up against. They know what their competition is, and I think that looking at statistics and where the team ranks right now is kind of like it's a little too soon. 10 games. I like to see what they do at 20 and at 30 games, and then who knows if the trading deadline, produces something. We'll never know.
So like a week ago, a lot of Knicks fans were complaining about Tibbs. They said he's too rigid with the starting lineups, that he will never try Randall and Obi together, and just he doesn't really know how to experiment. Madhatter, what do you think of what you've seen from Tibbs the last week?
Well, the same thing I kind of see into Randall. Tibbs he gave that a try. The same thing that you saying they complaining about, I have seen that, and it's working. Have you seen? We've seen that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So right now, as from like Angel said, everything is fresh. But from what I see, and for what Keif said, Randall wasn't giving it his all. He lost his confidence last season. But this season, from what he's producing and what he's showing more effort. He's smiling more. I feel the positivity coming from him like he was before. That game against Milwaukee, unbelievable. Win or lose, they had, it's some games, it's not to me sometimes about the win, it's the effort. And they played these guys, because I seen them as warriors, and they fought and they battled, because that was and Brunson, unbelievable. Unbelievable. This guy is like a mini tank.
He is thick. He is like he's not like he's not the fastest point guard. I think if all the point guards in the league had a race, he might be in last. But just shifty and quick, and he can get around guys. Like I don't know how he always gets shots off, and he gets to the basket. He's just good at he does what you need to do on offense. I am in love. Brunson might be my favorite Knick, and he'll only be on the Knicks for 10 games.
And if you imitate him, if the other point guards try to imitate, they'll fall in line. And he opened the floor for everybody.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable how this guy, and it's everything with the Knicks is like surprise each year. The same way how we getting, like everyone said, I was seeing in groups. Oh, this guy is not the savior, guys. He's not the savior. I mean, come on. I mean, I love Walker, Kimball, but come on.
I mean,
it's a big improvement.
Right now with Brunson as a starter, and he's awesome.
Oh
and then between Rose and IQ handling backup roles, this is the best our point guard. Like we have 48 minutes of above average to just it's an amazing way to have gone from the trash we've had for the last 20 years to actually having a real point guard rotation.
And the biggest talk of the town that no one talk about is the way he is not turning the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I hear. This is all I hear. How this guy is. Think about how many times he so far have not turned the ball over. He makes the smartest decisions at the last. And then his face is like him and RJ Barrett give off that same. He don't move. RJ Barrett have a bad game. He don't show it too much. He don't show his frustration.
Mm-hmm.
Julius Randle he wears it on his sleeves, but the other two guys they don't really show frustration too much. And Obi, oh my God, 3-pointers. He's developing 3-pointers. I love it.
I have to say, last year, before the end of the year, I didn't think Obi knew how to shoot a 3-pointer. He would just throw up air balls. He was shooting like 20% through most of the season. It was almost getting to the point I kept saying, he's got to just stop shooting these. It's just not part of his game. Why does he keep doing it? And now I have as much confidence in him shooting as 3-pointers as anyone in the team. When he puts it up, I expect him to go in. It's crazy.
Yes. And then, like he said, Hartstein? I'm sorry. I don't want to destroy his name.
He prefers the German pronunciation, which I got from one of the games. Hartenstein or
Hartenstein.
Hartenstein, yes.
See, I got into a thing in my house. I give people nicknames. So I call him Heart of the Team. So,
okay.
I'm sorry. So that's why I was not. But you just said Heart of the Team. Who's that? Because this guy, anything that's coming off the boards, he replaced. I'm not saying replaced, but he filled in for Mitchell Robinson. Great dealing. He remind me of what is his name? That was on the Knicks. He came for a short time. No, tall guy. Dudley.
Oh,
Chris Dudley? Okay.
Yes, sir. He reminds me of Chris Dudley for the boards and the way, but the putbacks that this guy does is I'm like unbelievable. So it's like, aha, surprise. So for us as fans and also the other teams, they don't know what to expect. Milwaukee kind of didn't expect that.
He's good. I actually looked up before this, Keith.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up who's the team leaders in plus minus through 10 games. Two guys are tied for first, and then there's the third place. You want to see if you can guess who are the top three?
Oh God, I'm terrible.
So top three on the Knicks in plus minus. Angel or Madhatter, you're welcome to jump in also. Who do you guys think? Who do you think is
Brunson's going to be first.
Brunson's one.
Brunson is not one. Brunson is not in the top three, actually. Brunson right now he's sixth on the team in plus minus.
In plus minus?
Yeah.
Well, because he's not that great a defender.
I mean, he's positive. He's right now plus minus his net rating that is 2.6. But who do you think is see if you can
so Isaiah Hartenstein would have to be in that conversation.
Hart is tied for first.
Okay. I would say Obi Toppin.
Yeah, Obi's got to be there.
Obi is fifth.
I would give that to Fournier.
Fournier is not. in the top.
Really?
I wouldn't think that either.
Fournier's last, right?
Hey, you never know.
Fournier's last.
The next two guys are bench guys.
Bench guys. Oh.
Yeah.
But Derrick Rose and Obi Top.
Rose is 4. You guys, the two guys aren't that like they're. You should get them.
I know who it is.
Quickly, yeah.
Quickly is 3rd.
Quickly.
Who's tied with Hart for 1st?
It's Cam.
The bench player.
Well, he's sometimes the bench player. Recent experiments. Last night he was not. Last night he started.
Okay.
So Grimes.
Grimes is still out.
Okay.
He hasn't played enough minutes.
All right.
Let's. He was involved. He was traded to the team last year from the Hawks for Kevin Knox.
Yeah.
Cam Reddish.
Reddish, yeah. Reddish has been playing great D. Really good.
Yeah, his D has been really good.
He fills the passing lane. He's a good defender. That's why he's playing.
Yeah.
Tibbs plays defenders.
The funny thing is that on our show, the last preseason game, we were all over Cam Reddish, and just like getting on the fans. It was like, oh, play the kids, play Cam. He's got handle, he's got this, he's got that, and we were destroying this poor guy. That comes the first game, and we're like, oh, dude, I'm sorry.
He flicked the switch there. Yeah.
He looked like such. I mean, we overreact a lot in the show, but he looked like such garbage in preseason. I was like, this guy is like unplayable. Game 1 of the season, of course, he was amazing, and since then he's been very helpful. Basically, his defense has been better than average. He throws up some shots that I don't love, but generally he's been really good, and he's super athletic.
Yeah, and he's long.
He's long. It's going to be nice having him, especially when Grimes is back. We're going to have two 3-and-D guys, basically, who can play some defense.
Well, the good thing about Cam Reddish is that, I mean, he has the experience with RJ playing at Duke. And he was a very good player in college and in high school. The problem was that, he just wasn't getting the minutes because he wasn't ready in Atlanta. And then he came to the Knicks and he just hadn't won Tibbs at all. And a lot of people were saying, oh, why don't we play? And why did we trade for him? I said, well, we traded one bench guy for another. And that's pretty much what it was. The good thing about it is that, he took the last season and really, developed his game. He really worked on the shot, worked on the key things that, that Tibbs just loves, which is effort, defense, and, bringing a lot of energy. And, Cam is right now, I mean, he's really earning those minutes and probably deserves a few more, down the stretch because he's getting, crunch time minutes on top of that. So that, that has to be, say something to him and his work ethic.
I mean, it's a big deal also that, Fournier is obviously a veteran on a higher, not a gigantic contract, but on a decent contract. You would think with the way Tibbs usually coaches, he'd be guaranteed 25, 30 minutes a night. He'd be hard to get him out of the starting lineup. And Tibbs is watching what's going on the court. He started Reddish. Fournier played 12 minutes last night. It seems like Tibbs, it seems like he's adapting and just going with the hot hands, which is what we wanted from him for so long. Madhatter, what did you think of Randall last night with his 8 threes?
Unbelievable. I think he was covering from that game. That's what they lack in playing defense against a team that can shoot threes. Because as we know, NBA is it's a 3-point system now. So the Knicks and Randall, I think it was more of a, what happened in the game before, because that's how you die by the sword. So he got rebirth from the sword, and then you go with what works from you. So he kept going with it, and it was unbelievable. It was everything that everybody was orchestrating, passing, dishing out. It just worked. I play a lot of 2K, and it seemed that it was like a video game. Like if you pushed up the status, because the way these guys was playing in being the visitor, and they dominated. I couldn't believe this. And I was, I work overnight, and that was my late game, and I work where it's a clinic and it's closed, and I was in there yelling and screaming. It's unbelievable. Like I said, being a Knicks fan is something else, especially when we win, because even wearing this here, this is not just an hat. This conversation with this Brooklyn thing, you wear a Brooklyn hat, whatever. This hat, when I wear this hat and we win, especially when we win, and I walk the streets anywhere I be, especially in NYU, the hospital, and gentlemen walk by, because there's gentlemen that have one hat. I don't care what it look like, holes, anything. They wear their hat, we walk the hallways, nothing said. We nod, do this. Hey, there you go. What's the score? And there, little conversation. And I know no one, no name, anything, just because of this. Just because of this. You must understand, we talk about the ticket price, this and that. I willed and deal with, I brought the cheapest, because like I said, the personality, the way you are, the way I am passionate, and the way people know how I am about this team. The cheapest Knick ticket, I wind up in skyboxes inside the suites in the Garden.
Awesome.
I have been pulled out. Yes, I have been pulled out on the Garden floor and been getting pictures taken of me, just because I wear my Knick gear from the sneakers to the socks to the pants to the underwear to the cups. I mean, I have it. I wear it when I go. From the book bags, I have it, and that's every game. Right now, like I said, it's no game. I got my hat, but this is game night. I have everything, everything you name it. I will have it on from head to toe, because that's how loyal I am to this family.
Keif, I want to point out you you found some like awesome Knick fans, diehard fans for the documentary. I feel like it's not even hard to find diehard Knick fans, because the Knick fandom, there's so many diehard Knick fans out there, and you have an awesome documentary. If you want to make the lamest documentary, you should make a documentary about Brooklyn Net fanhood. It would be people being like, yeah, I followed the team since like 2 years ago. I think I'm it's about as long as anyone's been following them.
Yeah, this also seems to be like a lot of younger fans that follow the Nets. I guess they've also, one thing that I learned from the documentary is that a lot of the younger fans follow players rather than teams. That was something that I picked up that was interesting. A lot they follow teams. I mean, follow players. Follow players.
I have a son. I've learned that from kids also. Like that, they tend to like whatever team they're on. Like they're a Golden State fan when Durant's on Golden State, and they're a Nets fan because that's where Durant is. So it's like a different kind of fanhood.
Well, I'm gonna confess real quick. My wife is a Net fan. And
what?
Oh man!
So tomorrow night, you see everybody know in the group that we fight. Her jacket, she have her little sweaters, black and white. She has that gray and black. She has a Net fan, but the real Net fans that I know are from New Jersey.
Yes, I agree with that.
I know Derek Coleman. These are real Net fans. My wife is a 2-year Brooklyn. The only reason why she's a Net fan, I took her to a Net game because she liked the Nets, and it's a party there. It's a party there. It's not really about the basketball. They play their music. It's a party there. If they lose, they entertain you with the party that they give up. It's like that. It's more of a, oh my God.
So Angel, what do you think? Last night's game, they held off Minnesota. What do you think of last night's game? Do you think there's a lot to build on here?
Well, first of all, Minnesota, they're still, stumbling out of the gate, trying to figure out who they are as a team. Even, with the acquisitions of Rudy Gobert and a healthy Karl-Anthony Towns, that if they think that they know who they are, I don't think they still have a freaking clue. And I think that by trading deadline, they're going to be looking at possibly, maybe even getting into that Anthony Davis sweepstakes. Who knows? But in last night's game, the Knicks took care of. They got hot early. They took care of. They kept the gas pedal going. You didn't see them letting off too much. I felt that Randall played like out of his mind. I love how the rotations were working out. The minutes distribution was fairly well done. And I like the way how Tibbs managed the game and calling timeouts when he needed to. I think that's something that is a lost art in coaching in the NBA. A lot of coaches don't get enough credit for figuring a way how to stop the momentum and to get their team back re-engaged on the mission at hand, which is playing defense and executing their plays the way they practiced them.
Yeah, no, the team, it was a great game. So the Knicks were up by like 20, 25 points, and I couldn't be like comfortable the whole time. Anytime the game got closer, because I have like PTSD from the Hawks game, so I keep waiting for the lead to slip away and us to be in like a dogfight. And the fact that the Knicks held on to the lead and like just kept like holding on, it was nice. It was nice to see some growth from the Hawks game.
Well, definitely, because nothing cures a bad loss like a good win and a solid win, and a win where the team played 48 minutes of consistent basketball, which was something that the Knicks have been having a trouble to do for ages. Playing 4 quarters all together and taking care of a team they're supposed to beat. The Knicks have talent. They do have some players. The only issue is that can they put it all together? Can they mold it? And that I understand why most fans start to go into panic mode about Tibbs, but again, it's only 10 games, and at the same time, we have to be a little bit more realistic to think that with the new point guard, new system, and we're still jigsaw puzzling this whole thing together. I still think that this team can, they can make some noise. How much noise they make remains to be seen. The game still has to be played, but I feel like the Knicks have enough talent to at least make it an interesting conversation in the Eastern Conference. Heck, maybe even in their own division.
I mean, they should be in pretty much every game. They have a strong. I mean, I like the starters. I like the bench. They have a pretty complete. They don't have the star level player, but they have a very balanced team, a very good. I feel like they can go toe to toe with any, like they may not win all the games, but they can go toe to toe with anyone in the NBA.
I definitely agree with that. I feel like that if we're gonna lose, let's lose respectfully. If we're gonna win, let's kill them. That's kind of been my whole my mentality. My whole Knick fandom. Kill them if you can. Lose respectively if you must.
One thought I had from last night was so the Knicks fans, like, we wanted to go all in for Donovan Mitchell, and it didn't work out. We didn't get him. Minnesota went all in to get Gobert, and I know he wasn't playing last night, but when you watch, and I haven't watched Minnesota really with Gobert yet. I only have to watch the Knicks and who they're playing, but you watched last night's Minnesota team. Do you think they look that much better with Gobert? It seems like the way it went all in for a guy that can't really help. Like, he probably clogs the paint. He doesn't really. If anything, you kind of want Towns to be your center.
Yeah. However, Karl-Anthony Towns is more of a natural power forward.
Yeah, he doesn't play defense that well, also. But
he can play the center at times if you want to go with a small lineup. But Towns, his skill set. From all the way when he played for the Dominican Republic in the Olympics and all that stuff, he's a natural power forward. He needs to be able to move, and the center position, at least in the traditional sense, is a very stationary position. You're pretty much down low, and you're swatting shots on defense, and on the offense, you're down low and you're posting up. He needs to be able to kind of he kind of stretches the floor a little bit too much, and so therefore he's more of a natural power forward, in my opinion. And one of the best power forwards in the league, but
I get what you're saying. I felt like that though down, like he kept shooting threes. I felt like if he just went down low, they kept feeding the ball in the post. He's almost unstoppable down there.
Well, but it goes against his natural game. His natural game is being like a stretch, and unfortunately, the way the NBA is played, as Madhatter was explaining, it's difficult for the big men to do what like the old like the teams back in the 90s used to do. What you can feed a guy down low,
right,
work the post, and you have 2 or 3 guys down down in the paint, ready, to clean the boards. However, you can't do that now. With the three in the key, rule being heavily enforced, and everybody being a 3-pointer or a bust kind of team. Karl Anthony Towns and and a lot of big men have to play that kind of style game just to get just to to pay the bills. I agree with you. I don't think that Rudy Gobert was ever going to make the Timberwolves a contender in the West. I don't think they're even a contender in their own division. Considering who they have to play against, I think that that was a very foolish move to go all in for a guy that wasn't going to get you over the hump.
Yeah. Keith, moving on to another player that has started off cold, but is looking a lot better as of late. What do you think of RJ so far this year?
I think Knicks fans got to be patient with him because I don't think he's going to be an all-star, but I think that he's going to be a really solid player. He is a really solid player, I mean, the one thing that worries me about him is his shot. His form, he's very inconsistent. But as a transition player, he's one of the best in the league, going to the basket and getting his shots, in transition. He's one of the best in the league. I don't know. I mean, is it because he got the big deal? Sometimes there's a the play goes down a little bit once they get the big deal. Once players get the big deal, once they get the guaranteed money. I don't know if that's part of it, but I just think Knicks fans in general just need to be a little more patient with the individual players. And I just think he has a big upside. I mean, I think he can average 23, 24 points a game in the league. And like I said, I think he's one of the best transition players in the league.
I mean, we have a very intense fan base, we also have a very overreactionary fan base that is kind of it cuts both ways, I guess. But I'd say so RJ obviously started off the year, had some bad games. He's looking better lately. I'll give you some signs of optimism on his shooting in particular. So he is now shooting from 2-point land. He's shooting over 50%, which he's yet to do in his career.
Yeah.
And that's a huge. Him going for over 50% from 2-point land is a huge improvement. He's also now over 80% on free throws.
That's good. Yeah.
Those two things are huge jumps in his shooting. His 3-point shooting right now is terrible, but he's been shooting last couple games. Been shooting a little better. But if he can keep his just from inside the paint, inside the arc, over 50% and free throws 80%, he's going to have a really good year.
Yeah, and I also think that right now, because this whole Donovan Mitchell thing is so fresh, I feel like every time they look at RJ, they see Donovan's face or something. It's why do we not trade this guy? I mean, why didn't the Knicks trade him? And I don't know if they should have traded for Donovan. I mean, that's obviously a topic of debate, but it's not RJ's fault,
Yeah, and it wasn't just RJ. It was going to be a ton of picks, other guys on the team. Madhatter, how did you feel about the Knicks not getting Donovan and not getting Mitchell? How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't think they made a mistake. Like he said, I'm sorry, the wind. Like Keith said, I think that you have to give him time. I watched Kevin Knox. He just never developed. 3 years. The Knicks gave him 3 years. They gave Dennis Smith Jr. 3 years to develop. These guys they didn't develop too well on that team. I watched them very well. RJ, he's off and on. But he builds up his confidence. I think he would do a lot better. I think he needs to focus more on driving the ball than taking 3-point shots. Because I think he can draw the foul. He's a left-handed player. You do a lot better and can protect the ball on that side of your body than the right side. So he could do a lot of effective if he drive more to the hole than a still shooter and shooting threes and trying to patent and shoot threes. I think he would develop and give him a little time. But I think his confidence is up. I don't think that we made any mistakes at all. I think everything the way it's supposed to be. That's our biggest problem with as far as the Knicks. We shuffle the deck too much. How many players on that team actually who's the longest playing Knick?
Who's the longest playing Knick right now? It would be
it's Barrett, right?
Is it Barrett?
Yeah. Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense? Really, look, he laughed.
Oh, it was Randall and Barrett. Randall and
Barrett. Does that
make
any sense?
Yeah, there's not enough content. I mean, you need continuity. You need basically same players from the team every year, a couple changes here and there, but you need continuity, which we've
Yes.
kind of had under Tibbs though. It's
Yeah,
been a
I mean,
lot of the
it's
same
been
players.
stable now so far, but we haven't had anybody like long term. So, like I said, you have to. And this kid is what? He's not even what 25 yet.
He's
22.
22. He's 22.
Yeah, oh, come on. I see. I talked to Mitchell. I took several pictures with Mitchell Robinson. At least a couple of appearances he showed up at, and he's like a big 16-year-old. That's how he reminds me. If you notice, I'm a 50-year-old grandfather. I have 10 grandchildren.
Wow.
So yeah. So I love the kids. Halloween is my Christmas, so I love the children.
Awesome.
So Mitchell Robinson is a big 16-year-old. He have not developed in his man. As you look at him when he walk like this, like a big 16-year-old. He holds on the backpack with two hands. When he developed and he put his hands down and he hold his back up and he walk like a man, like the Greek freak, this kid is going to be unbelievable. So you have to give these children time. They're on a big stage, and these wolves are the fans, and they out here like rah rah. Give these children time to develop into young men. You have to develop a boy into a man. But we talk about boys.
Yeah,
Speaking. Go.
No, so just a quick thing on stability, because one of the people that I interviewed for the film was Dave Checketts, and something that he said that was very interesting when he first came to the Knicks is that he just tried to, they were in like a state of chaos when he came. And he tried to like instill some stability in the team. And I think that's like so important, for the Knicks franchise, is that there's some stability. And I'm happy that in the last 3 years, there has been some stability with Leon Rose. I don't agree with everything that he's done, but that is really the key to any franchise is stability. So if they can maintain that, I think that that's going to be like a really positive thing moving forward.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. For so many, like, it seemed like the last 10, 20 years, there's so much turnover on the roster that it gets ridiculous. And it's hard to, like, patch a team together every year. It's nice to see the same names, the same players, and, like, just slight differences on the roster, but not an overhaul every year, not a new coach every 2 seasons, not a new team president or new GM every year or two.
Yeah.
So, correction, the longest tenured Knick is Mitch. Thank you, Anthony.
Wow. How did we forget Mitch?
Because he's always injured.
So speaking of development, what do you guys, Angel, what do you think of what you've seen from Obi and IQ this year?
Well, I feel that Obi Toppin is taking, huge steps forward. I'm glad, because I remember when we drafted him, how some people were very happy, but at the same time, you were like, we had other, we needed a point guard. We needed a point guard, and again, I understood the whole situation at that time. We needed the best player available, and we got him. I love the fact that he's trying to add more dimension to his game. He's not just the Showtime highlight dunk on ESPN every other night. He's trying to add some different facets to the game. Quickly, I've loved him since we first drafted him. However, I feel like last year he took a huge step backwards offensively and his place in the rotation. I'm happy to see that he's actually taking a step forward and kind of like picking up the pace. He kind of got over his sophomore slump, and now he's more into playing the style of Emmanuel Quickly basketball that that we're all used to. I would love to see him take more command offensively and not just always defer to shoot. And I'm loving the fact that he's utilizing the floater. I think it's a lost art. When a point guard comes in and uses a small floater, easy to, and I'm loving the fact that these guys are developing into more well-rounded players and not just be a flash in the pan.
Yeah, I think IQ. His shooting hasn't been amazing this year. And I did like he had a couple floaters last night. I liked what I saw from him last night and like driving to the paint. But overall IQ, his whole game seems to be developing. His defense seems a lot better. His passing seems a lot better. He's rebounding. He got 16 rebounds the other night. I mean, I think Hart helped him a lot with the rebounds. But like his whole game is looking so much better. I've been a big fan of what I've seen from IQ so far this year.
Well, most definitely, because if like I said, they're adding elements to their game and not just being a one-trick pony. Even Mitchell Robinson. I mean, given he's not the most well-rounded offensive player, but he has taken some steps towards it, and I just wish that he would actually, really, take a better position in being a focal point in the offense, and not just be, high pick and roll up on top of the key, or pass off to a to a running screener or something like that. I would love to see him actually look for his shot. Maybe hook, maybe a simple layup, those kind of things. I mean, any little thing counts. When you're trying to compete and you have a fan base that's expecting a championship every year.
Yeah, I've been saying for a long time, like Mitch is so athletic. If he can have a little post-up game, maybe a little jump, a little baby hook, as you said, I feel like he could be even more dangerous. And the more the defense has to worry about Mitch, the better it works out for everyone else.
Absolutely, and even with with RJ, I know we were just talking about him, but I feel like RJ Barrett, he's excelled in so much, and yeah, his shot is still yet to come around. But you have to remember, he's actually taking on a new assignment. He's defending point guards more often than that. I mean, the other night he was defending Trae Young. The night before that, I mean, he had to go against Jaylen Brown. So he's chasing smaller guards on a constant basis. So his conditioning is really being tested. So I can understand why his shot hasn't been as consistent, but he really needs to work on that, because we're only 10 games in. We have 72 more games of this, and he's going to be chasing guys, that are going to be quicker. They're going to be smaller. They're going to be a lot more astute at looking for a shot and creating, and can easily pop them up for a spot up three.
Well, so a lot of nights that RJ has been drawing the tough, most of last year, he would always draw the toughest assignment on the floor. And there's a theory that kind of hurts his offensive game, because he has to basically be on the toughest assignment on the other side, and that you have a guy like Grimes out there or Cam Reddish who can kind of take the hardest defense, the best offensive player on the other team, and let RJ not slack, but not always have the toughest assignment. It can make a big difference in RJ's game also. Just having another. Go. Sorry.
Absolutely, and I credit to this to back when Pat Riley was here. Pat Riley used to throw out guys like Herb Williams or Anthony Mason at the point guards, just for say, hey, we just need 6 fouls, and just be a deterrent, and that's something that I would wish that Thibodeau would do that for more often, because you guys, you just mentioned, they got Cam Reddish, they got Quentin Grimes, you got 2 guys that are long and pretty skilled defenders. You just have to put them on somebody that they need to defend, besides just a spot that's hidden, was away from the corner 3. I like to see more of those guys getting some more tough assignments, and let RJ's game come to him as it naturally would, just like it did a couple years ago.
So on a different note, Madhatter. So if anyone's watching the YouTube, watching the video, they'll see you moving around. And I know you said you're heading to work, but I think just tell me if I'm wrong. I think you're actually right now investigating what's up with Grimes. You're on a mission. You're going around the city to figure out what happened. What's going on with Grimes?
Well,
is he ever coming back?
I don't know. Is this injured? Is he injured? What's going on?
His foot hurts him. I don't know.
I mean, I'm ready to put him on the milk cart. Remember the back of the milk cart? What's going on with that? Is it confidence? I mean, he's falling into that thing with the Dennis Smith Jr. I mean, the confidence. Confidence is everything.
Well, I think you don't think he's actually injured?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes guys will milk something because they can't fit in, or has well, I don't know. Did he fall out of position? Because I kind of forgot about him. Because you kind of put me on the spot when you mentioned him, because he's not he fell out the rotation.
I mean, I feel like he could be a starter easily for our team. Like his defense is top notch. I don't know. Do you guys feel like he's the odd man out, or do you feel like he's got a pretty big role in this team when healthy?
I honestly feel like like Quentin Grimes, he was a talking point, during those Donovan Mitchell talks, and and I remember how Knicks Nation was going crazy about, well, we can't trade him because of his performance in the summer league. I'm looking at him like, did we really need him? You know,
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're thinking about it, if he was healthy, he like you said, trade. But now it's like, what can we do? I mean, if he get healthy, you tell me, where can he fit in that puzzle right
I'll tell you. I
now
think
as a starter?
I think I start him as our three. I think he's our 2 or 3, wherever you want to put him. But I think he's
Really?
I think he's a key to taking our team to the next level. I think he's very solid defense. I think his offensive game it's more than just shooting a 3. I think he'd be a huge addition to this team.
well, he needs to get healthy and get on the court, because
Yes.
right now, Brunson, quickly, RJ, and Cam Reddish are eating up his minutes, and the more confidence that Thibodeau is going to develop into these guys, the less you're going to start seeing Quentin Grimes, and you're going to start seeing him, sitting next to Deuce McBride, sooner or later.
He had a promising before he got injured. He had a promising rookie year. I'm really hoping he's a guy that can really take it to the next level. I have to say, I was really I did not want them to include him in the. I was one of those people that said include the other guys. I do not want him in the Donovan Mitchell trade, because I really think he has a really high ceiling.
I was one of those that I was okay if they included Grimes. I didn't have such high stock in him, or that much of an investment in him. I did have a much higher investment in guys like RJ and Randall and Mitch, but when you're talking about bringing in an all-star that's going to change the whole face of the franchise and the direction of the franchise, I figured that that was an easy decision to make. However, once you start to realize what Danny Ainge was asking for, and what he ended up getting from Cleveland, then I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I also kind of was of the feeling Donovan Mitchell, obviously, worlds better than anything Grimes will ever be. But I was also the feeling that we're giving up all these draft picks. We should have to give up less certain players. I didn't know Cleveland would step in there and be like, take everything, basically.
Well, also you have to consider where Cleveland is versus where New York is.
Right.
Cleveland is, they were a playoff team last year. No one saw that coming. No one predicted that they would be, as high up in the seeding as they did. And, Donovan Mitchell does make them better. They make them, he makes them almost an Eastern Conference finalist. I don't know if it makes them, an NBA finalist, but, because you still have to deal with the Milwaukees and the Bostons and the Brooklyns and the Phillies. But at the same time, that Cleveland's now in that conversation, so that just puts another team in the Eastern Conference in front of the Knicks that we eventually will have to kind of get over that hurdle. That's just another hurdle in the way of the Knicks finally getting one of these.
I actually had a thought. I don't know if anyone else has thought about this. Does anyone think that LeBron will finish his career out in Cleveland, because now they're a contender? I don't know how many more years he has under contract with them.
I think he has 3.
Okay, so he'll be.
Well,
he'll be
I
up
have
there.
rumor that LeBron would love to play with his son. So I don't know about him going back to Cleveland, but I know he do want to play with his son before he's done.
I also heard. Just another rumor I heard from an inside source on LeBron is that he really does not want to play with this current team he's on.
I also heard.
I was more making a joke. It seems a disaster. How LeBron has had such an amazing career. He guides where he wants to be. He sets up Miami, Cleveland, goes to the Lakers, wins the title. He's now playing on a team that's going to be a lottery seed. He cannot. I mean, he's got to be shocked that this is where his career is at this point.
Yep.
Well, that's the funny thing about LeBron is that the LeBron lovers and and the LeBron haters, that's kind of their bread and butter right there, because is in LA. They're pretty much an abysmal team. As currently constructed, they're about to shop Anthony Davis. I know they still want to get rid of Russell Westbrook. Now you got to look for a well-rounded suitor that has assets for them. And I know Bleacher Report put out a freaking report.
This is the Bleacher Report put out an article today. And Bleacher Report, sometimes they put out good stuff, sometimes they put out trash. They had a proposed trade where the Knicks get Anthony Davis, the Lakers receive RJ, Mitchell Robinson, Obi, Quentin Grimes, and if that wasn't enough, 5 first-round picks.
Oh my God!
Why would the Knicks sign up for Eddie Curry 2.0? Somebody tell me that. Anthony Davis is injury prone, to death, and I'm sorry, as good as a player as he is, because he's a phenomenal player, but the guy is basically Eddie Curry, Amari Stoudemire kind of, injury prone. That's how bad that is.
Anthony Davis is never healthy. He's just between injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. It makes absolutely no sense to project, a winning combination for the Knicks. If you have a starting rotation of Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, Obi.
Right. Grimes was in the trade. Everyone was in the trade. The entire roster was in the trade, by the way, except for Brunson.
That would make no sense to me. The Lakers would have a better chance at talking to Chicago or Dallas. We'll also mention in the article, but
why wasn't the Empire State Building included? Why wasn't like the rights to the Jets and the Giants included? Like, this is insane.
Because those are included in players to be named later. I think it's part of the Bobby Bonilla trade.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So going forward, you guys think 500, a little bit above 500. I guess what do you want to see from the individual players as far as growth? Like, I would say, like, RJ, one thing I want to see from him more is sometimes I find that he'll just put his head down and drive into 3 players. He does that a little too often. I feel like sometimes he decides whether he's going to drive or pass beforehand. I'd like to see him stop driving into a packed paint and sometimes just like pass, be more willing, make a decision about passing more in the flow as opposed to making a decision beforehand. What other players would you like to see? What improvements would you like to see from players?
Keith, you want to go first?
I mean, like, for me, I like to see Julius just continue to be in a good mental state. I think that's important. Him being in a good mental state and continuing to have a good mental state. Even with RJ, and like you said, I mean, also like RJ shot, just continuing to improve. I think a big part of it is mental with like Julius, and that Julius is a big key to their success, and a lot of it is just mental with Julius, and I hope he can just maintain that like sort of that positive mental state.
Do you think the Obi Julius like combination like on the court at the same time is here to stay, and do you think it's going to be a successful combination for the Knicks?
Yeah, I mean, I think they can coexist. That they can play them together. I think that they have pretty good chemistry on the court. What kind of worries me a little bit is about Tibbs, because that saying you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, Tibbs is the ultimate old dog.
Yes.
And to me, the Knicks, what they did in their last game is they played hard and they played good D, and I think Tibbs is going to absolutely make sure all this running and stuff and the pace and all that's going to fall off because Tibbs is going to go back to his basics. I know this is going to happen, and that's not a bad thing because that's why they hired him. For them to play hard and to play a defensive minded game, and hopefully they can fall into that and still have some offense. But I think the key to them winning, any team really winning, especially going into the playoffs, if they can make it into the playoffs, is defense. So I hope that they have that mindset, that they are able to maintain that mindset for the rest of the season, and they don't forget that.
Madhatter, what individual what players what improvements do you want to see from players?
Well, quickly, I think I think his decision making.
Okay, we lose it. This is Angel. You want to pick up on that?
Sure. I'm gonna guess that that Matt Hatter was gonna say that he wants Emmanuel Quickly's decision making to improve. For him to develop his shot, and be able to create more. What I would love to see personally is I want to see what the big ballyhoot about Quentin Grimes is. I want to see why we kept him, and why Knick fans have this guy, and really start to go crazy in terms of but he's our future, as you yourself have mentioned. I would love to see Julius Randle to return to form that got him the Most Improved Player award, and obviously I will love. I mean, I don't think happened, but I would really love if Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett both represent us in the Eastern Conference All-Star game.
That would be awesome. Matt Hatter, before you cut out, you were saying about IQ. What did you want to see from him?
Oh, I'm sorry. As a point guard, I think that he's young. I think he can learn from as far as how he makes his decisions or how he when he comes off the bench. I think he burns out fast. I think as a point guard, I think he should take his time because, like you said about RJ, he drives when he drives to the hole, he drives into three players. But Brunson doesn't do that. He drives to the hole, but he slows it down, and he has this. I really can't really say it, but it's off the glass, and he lays it up, and it comes right off the glass. And he's a shorter player. Quickly throws a rainbow. If he creates off the glass almost the same way, he'll be an unstoppable point guard. I really think so. As far as developing there, Obi, I think he just instead of developing, continue what he's doing, and Mitchell Robinson is developing to his own. I love the way he catches his alley-oops. I really do. These guys is going to be something as they gel together. And Julius Randle is the captain, and he need to keep his confidence consistent. If he keep his confidence consistent, because it's an effect, mental effect, it affects everyone. If he's down, and I'm looking at you and you the captain, who else is there to look at? So he need to keep a positive mental effect each night, win or lose.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. So we're running low on time here. I want to ask you guys, Knicks have 3 games coming up in the next week. They play Brooklyn tomorrow night, which apparently in Matt Hatter's household will be a civil war. They play Detroit and then OKC. What are your predictions for those 3 games? What Keif? 3 games: Brooklyn, Detroit, and OKC. What's the Knicks record going to be in those games?
Which 3-0. I mean, they could beat all 3 of those teams.
Hell yeah, Angel.
Definitely 3-0. Brooklyn still in a discourse. Detroit and OKC are both teams that the Knicks should should mop the floor with, and Detroit they already have.
Matt Hatter, do you have to say Brooklyn's going to win, or are you just to keep your wife happy?
Oh man, listen. I can't wait to rub it in her face. Listen, I can't wait to see. I have Kyrie Irving right now. I'm doing the Kyrie Irving thing with her. So she's not talking with me with that. So we gotta have all 3.
You should just show them play their last episode. I think Mark was imitating Kyrie Irving.
No. She's mad with me because I sent her a picture of last night about 3 a.m. of Kyrie Irving. I found a picture of him and Kanye West.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So she was a little upset with me.
Do you ask her the other night, hey, honey, do you want to take out the garbage? Because I know you really like dumpster fires.
Right. I said, oh well, guess what? We was in Marshall, and I picked up a pair of sneakers, and I said, look, Yeezys, and then I said, yeah, Irvin's is gonna be a hit because I made a little joke. I said the Irvin's is gonna be marked down, but Marshall's is the markers of marked down. So I said we're gonna have these Kyries and the Yeezys right next to each other here. For $9.95. I remember a guy brought a pair, like 60 pair of Starberries. And the price was like odd to me. $7.09 in a place called Steve and Barry's.
Yeah.
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 I had 2 pairs of those.
Well, those were really, they were meant to be cheap. Like that was
Yeah.
his whole thing, basically. A
That was
very
his whole
affordable
thing.
sneaker.
They
Yeah.
were 20,
Yes,
they were like
yes.
20, 30 bucks.
And they were
Yeah,
like
yeah.
massively sold. Like, I mean, I don't know the US, but like outside of the US, they sold massively.
Yes, they did, especially in China because he was king. Yeah,
He was the greatest
my
player in the history of
God.
China.
they have like a Broadway play in China about Stephon Marbury coming there. It's crazy. So you never
It-
know.
God.
Do you think
Yeah.
do you think the next greatest player ever in China will be Kevin Knox?
Oh my God.
I can see him going there. I mean, like he's not long for the NBA. He could dominate in China.
It could happen.
I think Frank Ntilikina will have a better shot at that first before that happens.
Every
Oh my
decade, the
God.
Knicks should send over a player just to dominate China. Frank could do it also.
What's with the guys that the Knicks when they leave they have something to prove? Austin Rivers. What's that? What was that about?
Yeah, I like Austin Rivers. I just wasn't very
Yeah.
that good on the Knicks. But like, if you remember when he was here, he had that one game where he was lights out.
Yes,
Do you remember? Maybe it
yes.
might have been against Memphis. I forget exactly where, or maybe New Orleans. But he was just on fire that game.
Yes,
He was
yes.
goddamn awesome. And then he wasn't good anymore after.
And after that, he disappeared. Yeah.
Yeah. Jay, you want to jump in?
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you've been so quiet, Jay. I'm on.
Sorry, Jay.
No, that's all right. It's all right. We're pretty much out of time anyway. Mark likes me to be the bad guy and tell everybody we're out of time. So,
This was awesome. The documentary is great. Everyone should check it out. Whoever beyond the documentary, anything you guys want to plug?
well, Sunday there's a viewing of the documentary at Tito's Barbecue in Harlem at 3:30.
Yeah, what's the
Yes.
address on that, John? What's the?
I'm not exactly the address, but it's
Like
between
330 Lennox
120,
Street or something.
127th and 128 in Lenox Avenue.
Mm.
Yes, it's right in the location of Red Rooster. All of, like the known restaurants are right there in the area. It's a very known area.
What's the name?
Good establishment.
What's the name of the bar again for listeners? Tito's.
Tito's Barbecue Station.
Okay, so just look that up. Where else can? So if you happen to not be in the New York area, you want to see this documentary, where else can you see it? Where else? How can we watch this?
So I'm actually in the process of arranging screenings. So there aren't any yet, but I've applied to a lot of film festivals, and then it'll eventually make its way onto Amazon. But right now, I'm just kind of promoting it, like getting awareness about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but there's a Facebook. It's facebook.com, and then it's Orange and the Blues Film. So if you want to, I'll be updating it there. Yeah, soon we're gonna have screenings soon and the big screens. But this one, on Sunday should be fun because it's really good food there and it's a good vibe.
And eventually it'll be on Amazon for like international fans.
Yeah,
Everyone can see it.
international fans, everybody. There's Knicks fans all over the world. And it's great. It's great to see
Yes.
fans all over the world. It's such an international team.
Yeah.
With that saying real quick, that's the thing. I became best friends with a guy from Brazil. And I'm trying to get him here. And we
Awesome.
became, oh God, yeah. He's a Knicks fan. He podcasts. He interviewed me and a couple of other people. And me and him became, that's how the Knicks, this is what I mean about the Knicks. It draws family from, I never been to Brazil, but this guy is coming to New York and I'm going to be his diplomat and show him everything.
That's
So
awesome.
stay tuned for that, yes.
And Angel, you got a podcast. Why don't you tell everyone about Knickerbocker Avenue?
Yeah, so Knickerbocker Ave Fan Forum. It's on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. But we do post games. So tomorrow we play Brooklyn. So as soon as the final horn is sounded, we'll be live on Blog Talk Radio. You can, if you guys want to listen in or call in the show because it's an open forum. The phone number is 929-477-4171. Or you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Knickerbocker Avenue, and you can get more information there.
Awesome. And Madhatter, anything you want to plug besides the Civil War breaking out in your household tomorrow night?
Well, no, not really. I'm just diehard Knicks fan. Let's go Knicks. Good luck with us. That's about it. I'm a diehard fan, and I wish us well. That's about it.
Awesome.
Other than that, I do my own thing. I have usually have viewing parties also, like little parties where we having this, not just with the film, we also view the game, and then I buy merchandise, and I have trivia, and I give it out. So sometimes I be
Awesome.
think, yeah, I go beyond. I go beyond. So sometimes I be looking for MSG to give me some items to give away. But this is how far it goes. I give away things like this, book bags. I create bears. Right now, me and my wife is like I said, we reliving. I stop time. So I'm a
Yeah.
big kid. Right now, I'm making a Christmas Knickery. It's going to be unbelievable. And I'm using Nick flags from the parties and things and put it together because we created that way. Creativity is everything. So
I'm gonna bid on that myself.
I'm
I'm gonna look for you on Sunday, and I'm gonna be bidding.
I'm
I
telling you,
just got
it's gonna have a big blue and orange bow. It's gonna be big and have the big neat Nick things. I already have one, but it's small. So I see one. I'm gonna make a nice big one. I have bears. I have bears like they have what's those things called? They used to be Build-A-Bear. Bears.
Build-A-Bear, yeah.
I brought the bears that you put in the microwave, the therapeutic bears, and I put Nick, yes, and I put children Nick uniform on these bears. Yes, I have a one called RJ Barabbit. He's a rabbit, so RJ Barabbit. Yeah. I have like a starting five, and they're pretty big. So I'm a big kid. I mean, I'm not home to show off my things. So, oh my God, you'd be surprised, but a lot of things are made. And that's what gives me my uniqueness. But I have events where, like I said, I even draw up the questions and I have Q&As and give out prizes that I go around and I collect the Nick items. Like I said, I Target, Marshalls, me and my wife, I love her. And she takes me and we find these little Nick trinket. You'd be surprised what you could find. You could find this cup in the NBA store is about $44. I found this cup in Target. $15.99.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So where do you announce these meetups when you have them?
Excuse me?
When you have these meetups, where do you announce them? Where
I usually have them. Well, right now, like I said, I had 3 at the Tito's barbecue. I had 3 there. The first one was a good success. I had a raffle. Well, I imitated. There's groups that had big ones, so I was attending. So I had small ones where I invite. We watch the game. Because I was doing that during pandemic. At home, this was say I drew up where I posted, go live, and watch the game. And as I'm watching, I have the camera facing my TV, the 60-inch, covering the game, and I'm sitting there having a conversation with hundreds and hundreds of people.
Excellent.
Hundreds. And I didn't get to thousands. I'm in like 5 Nick groups. And I have at least so many people who know who I am. And it's so scary. I get on the train with people. I don't care what time of day it is. One guy was sleeping and he heard me talking. And he woke up and said, Madhatter.
Wow.
And this is true story. This is if my wife, my daughter, they will tell you. I talk about my wife and my daughter so much. These people, and I say happy birthday to them. They'll walk up to the screen. Hey, you Madhatter. It's white. People would get out of cabs and shake my hand out of nowhere because I drew this fan base.
Because you look like Spike Lee too.
Oh, I was about to say.
Yeah, you have that resemblance.
Well, I won 3 Halloween costumes doing that.
Yeah, I was about to say because when we were filming, every other person stopped me and Madhatter and said, "Are you Spike Lee? Are you Spike Lee?"
In front anywhere near the garden, anywhere around the garden. Yes. And anywhere with me and Keif, yes, it's on the film, anywhere in the cab, yeah. As long as I have on orange and blue, I look exactly like him. I'm looking for a commercial. Now that's my idea. I want to pitch this to him. Me doing what I'm doing, I do maintenance. So to show me in my uniform doing maintenance, show him doing what he do during the day. Then it's game time. Then show me dressing, show him dressing. I'm on the train, however he get there. Now we at the garden. They grab me up. Hey, Spike Lee, this and that, and pull me in. He get there. Where's your ticket? Whatever. Yeah. So, I'm pitching it. I'm trying to pitch it, but I need to get a hold of him to say, hey, I'm your doppelganger.
Careful though. Gotta be careful. He doesn't have that private entrance anymore.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, you may not get the treatment you expect by being looking like him.
Well, he's getting ready to do a documentary for them, so he's going
Knicks
to
in the
get back
90s.
into. Yeah, so he's getting ready to get into the back to where he used to be, as far as with the Knicks, because he's getting ready to do a nice documentary with them.
Well, Spike, I know you're not listening, but if you are listening, you should invite Mad Hatter to the game to sit next to you at the game because it'd be kind of awesome.
That'd be nice. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be, oh God, I would die happy, man. Instead of meeting Patrick Ewing, because I need to meet Patrick Ewing.
That'd be pretty amazing, also.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah. Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Orange
you.
in the Blues, November 13th, Tito's Barbecue Station, 3:30. Don't be late.
Yes. Anyone who want to attend.
All right, everyone, check it out.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to play the goodbye song. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
My love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Everybody.
Thank you guys. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Keith, I meant to ask you, how long did it take you to make the documentary?
It was over a year. I started in June 2021. So it was over a year, maybe like a year and 3 months or something. I was shooting for like a year, and then it took me like 3 or 4 months to edit.
And the other question I was meant to ask you was, what inspired you to actually make it?
A big part of it was my dad. I spent a long time with him, watching the games together, and it was a big point of bonding, and I think when my dad passed away, it really motivated me. I was thinking about it for years, but that really motivated me. He passed away in June 2021.
Oh,
Really
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. And it really motivated me. And then I met Angel and his dad, and it's like, wow, this is really like helping me get through this, in the morning. Having two guys like them, like a father and son, it really helped me, So that was a big part of it, it really helped me get through that period. And for me, filmmaking is very therapeutic, and it really very helpful for things that I'm going through in my life, so that was like a big part of it. Yeah.
Have you made other films? Or?
Yeah, I made quite a few. I've been doing this for, 20 years or something, and my other stuff is on Amazon. I did a film called Six School that was pretty big, did really well on Amazon. It was about this elementary school on Long Island that were a lot of there was a lot of teachers that were getting cancer. It was right by a landfill in Long Island, Suffolk County, and then kids were also getting sick. And I did a film about that, and I've done a film on films on various subjects, documentaries. So yeah, I've done a lot of them. Yeah, a good amount of them. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Knicks one. I thought it was great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, I was what I really wanted to do, and I think I'm hoping that it was successful, is that it'd be like accessible to not just Knicks sports fans and Knicks fans, and the people that I've shown it to, who are not fans, they've been into it. So I feel like that's like a good thing.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I guess I don't know the vantage point of not being a really like diehard Knicks fan, but like it seemed to me you stole enough of a story that like you didn't have to be a Knicks fan to appreciate the story.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going for. So.
Yeah, I actually showed it to my boss, and my boss is he was my boss. Like, I got fired last week, so. But,
sorry to hear that.
No worries. But I showed it to him, and he's an Hasidic Jew, and he actually like watched the entire documentary and he really appreciated it. Like, it really moved him. And I'm just now telling Keith now, but yeah, he really loved it. And when Keith told me about his dad, and I didn't know that him talking to me and my dad was I didn't know that was going on. So when he finally told me that really touched me, and That's why I'm so blessed to have been there, because we didn't just talk about the Nick fandom. He also did talk about my military background, and how I had to go through the process of dealing with PTSD and and my other issues, and getting to celebrate. It was actually last year, because we're coming up on Veterans Day again, and also the Marine Corps birthday, and so we're about to I'm about to meet the guys again, like we do every year, and have a beer and share stories from from our past, and I was very appreciative that all that stuff made it into the documentary.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not sure if it came across, and I think I talked to you about this, Angel. But like for me, like the way that Mad Hatter talks about the Knicks as a family, and also the Marine Corps as a family, and sort of like the Marine Corps, you have a uniform, and if you're a Knick fan, you have a uniform, and you're loyal to that uniform, and I tried to put that in a little bit, in the film, about loyalty and family, and to me, that's what it's like. That's what it's about being a Knicks fan. It's loyalty, it's family, and if there's a problem with your family, you address that. But also you're loyal to them. And you love them, and it's like you don't turn your back on them. And I think that was like a big part of like why I wanted to make this film and what I think it was about. So.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was really yeah.
Angel bring to the table to the story, like Keith was saying, what he wanted to bring and address to the film. I showed the film to my wife. My wife was touched by Angel's part. He brings heart to the story. He brings. I knew Angel for his, and he's very knowledgeable for his Knicks. But that he brings heart to the story of this film, and the closeness with his father, and I love that. The loyalty, like I said, is everything. And people ask me, because I'm covered with tattoos. I have 107. That's a whole nother story.
Oh wow.
400. Yeah, lived another life. 400 pounds before. Each time I lost weight.
Wow.
Yes, I've been this way only 12 years. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, each time I lost weight, I gained a tattoo. I got over so many. Well, anyway, it's close. It's close to you. So my wife learned Angel to where she see him now, and on Facebook, I go, look. She took a look, and all of a sudden she recognized his face and said, "Oh, he lost some weight from the film." Mm-hmm. That's what Keif brought to where. What I'm saying is, she remembered him. Mm. She never met him before until she watched that. Mm. And when Keif sent it to me, like I said, I got up late that afternoon, and I'm not gonna lie, I cried. I'm real emotional, so I cried. I was like, this is beautiful.
I did too.
But, yeah, man, I did.
I cried just because, first of all, I didn't know that Mad Hatter was ever not this small.
I'm shocked to learn you were 400 pounds. That's super impressive. So impressive that you.
I went on a bean diet and lost all that weight.
What kind of diet are you on?
A bean diet. That's what I went on. A bean diet. If you want to lose beans, kidney beans, red beans. Just beans. Don't add anything else to it.
I'm actually a huge fan of black beans.
Any beans. Once you add rice, it becomes a glue. Anything white is a glue. Flour. I don't fry my chicken in flour. I use shredded, breaded up oatmeal, regular oatmeal. I use oatmeal instead of flour. And all these things is not. You don't cut the portion. It's how you eat. It's not what you eat. It's how you eat it. I don't change anything. I don't stop anything. I just change the ingredients.
So you lost 200 pounds or I don't know, something like that. Wow.
Yeah. I have pictures to prove. Everybody that know me. My first name is John. Everyone called me Steven. That's my second name. So anyone that knows me as John, I'm 400 something pounds. I was a security guard. At that time, Now I'm a 134-pound maintenance worker that look like
Holy
Spike Lee. I used to,
shit.
when I was that big, I used to look like Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
Without the glasses, I have a wandering eye. Without the glasses, my
So
eye will wander.
you're always
and I will-
someone's understudy, basically. Just
Oh
like
yeah,
yourself.
He's a doppelganger
yeah.
just by natural birth.
Yeah. They used to call me Forrest Whitaker. Yeah. So, yes, sir. So it's like a change of life. I all the kids are gone. I threw all the big sofas out. Me and my wife got 2 lazy boys, big comfy couch. You remember that show with the kids? Yeah, I got toy figures all over the place. Marvel, DC. I'm a big fan. So
How
I like. Oh God.
how long
Keith
did it take you?
knows.
How long did it take you to lose the weight?
6 years. That
Wow.
okay, now it was so fast because I was doing security. Because now also when I lost the weight, I had flab, so I had to
Yeah.
get I had a resistant band and a pull-up bar, and I did this each time I did security. So I was checking in cars that was coming in the garage. Each car that came in, I did 10 pull-ups. Each car that went out, I did the resistant band, and then everything like went back because usually people go to surgery. But I did that. I reconstructed. I reconstructed. And I'm not a physique guy, but I got it in to where it's not none of that. Yeah, I go in shorts, anything. You wouldn't even think that I was that big.
Yeah,
And all of my children is big. All of my children are big. You look at my kids, you're like, how this guy got children? My son is like, can you see my son? He's like 230. Yeah,
He's
I
in the
got big,
film. He's in the film. Yeah.
Yeah, I got big
boy.
children. Yeah, I got big children. I used to be a big guy myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So after I saw the Mad Hatter thing, and he told me, and I realized about his weight thing, I went out and bought a pull-up bar, as you can see right behind me. And now I'm going to start doing that. And once I reach, my goal weight, I am going to get a tattoo. I'm going to finally put a Knicks tattoo on me. I already have a Yankee one. If it's more New York thing than anything, this whole arm is like my before, and I want to do this as my after. I want to incorporate my kids and all that stuff. So, I may have to talk.
Nice.
I'm probably gonna talk to you, Matt Hatter, about getting me a tattoo artist, who can do it right. If not you, I'll talk to Anna or somebody.
Yes, because I hope my daughter get her
Awesome.
first tattoo. Oh God.
Mad Hatter, what Nick tattoos do you have?
I have one called the Fever. Let's see if I can show it to you real quick. I only have the one. As you can see, maybe.
Okay, I see the
You see
NYC.
that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, it's on the wrist.
Okay.
It's small. Yeah, it's called I have it, and it's like, just it's small, but it's on the wrist. I have so many.
That's a Knicks one?
Yeah, it's the Knicks token. The token.
The token.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they have like these veins coming from it. I called it Nick Fever because it's the symbol, and they got like these veins connected going up like. Yeah, it's like one of my first tattoos. I'm gonna get me a nice big one. I seen a guy in a commercial. He got one on his chest, real big, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. It's nice.
Was that the guy
I
that
just don't have the room. I can take the pain.
was that the guy that was in the film? The guy with the one on his heart?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
same
he's in
guy.
a commercial.
And then MSG went ahead and did something with it.
Okay.
Good evening.
But Jay, you Matt quiet over there, bro.
It's been a long day. We learned during interviews it's easier if one of us kind of leads, so we don't like stumble over each other's sentences, and keeps the show flowing a little bit. So
Especially if there's especially we have 3 guys on. We have 3 people on the show, so I think Jay just wanted to step back and have me lead it.
Yeah,
I had that problem on my show. We're always stepping on each other because we sometimes we'll hit a hot topic and we'll get into a very big debate about it, and it's when like they call me like the little Stephen A because I'm actually worse than him because I can curse like crazy, my show. But still, yeah, I'm hoping to to redevelop the show to kind of mimic a little bit what you guys have. If not, I'll probably decide to start something completely different, and or see where life takes me, because my fandom, sometimes I can't control it, and it's just doing a nice little graphic art design and put it on the fan page. Sometimes I need to voice it, and
Yep. I mean, podcasting is kind of like basketball in a way where you need chemistry, and if you have different people all the time, you don't have that chemistry. Like Mark and I can just turn on the mic, and we know we've done so many episodes together now. We know when each other's going to stop talking and when to jump in. So it's
damn near 600, right?
Yeah, and then we have a comedy podcast that we have about 300 episodes of as well. So
wait, you got more podcasts?
Actually,
where do you have time for your family life?
I don't know. I have 2 kids. I have to. I make sure to do it around my kids' schedules.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, our comedy podcast is nearing episode 400. So, almost 1,000 between the two.
It's a fun hobby.
Yeah,
I got to see this.
It's called The Brink of Sanity.
I think I've heard one then.
So it's it's me and Mark, and then we have a third person sometimes too, and it's pretty much in a same type of humor, just non-Nick related.
Non-Nick related, yeah. It's very random topics, basically.
Yeah,
I can go there. I could definitely go there.
But yeah, so Angel, I want to check out your show also. I don't think I've heard your show before, so I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, so we're on tomorrow night, right after the game. We're on Blog Talk. We're on Podcast Republic, TuneIn, Stitcher,
Apple Podcasts, I assume. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's called the Bleed Blue Show. That's the main forum, and then just the Wednesday night show is named after me, the Knickerbocker Ave fan forum.
Awesome.
Because Mondays they talk about the Yankees, Tuesday the Rangers, Wednesdays the Knicks, then the other days the Giants.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, Mark wants to talk about the Mets so bad, but I don't do baseball.
I only root for teams that bring me misery.
You're just a glutton for punishment. That's what
I mean, the Mets, the Jets, and the Knicks. It's
God.
I don't like happiness.
At least the Jets took care of the Bills the other Sunday. So hey, you got.
I took my son to the game. It was awesome. It was such an awesome game.
Wow.
On a side note about the game, half the stadium was Bills fans. Literally half the stadium. I could not believe how many Bills fans were there. It was crazy. Like the whole the section I'm sitting at, I turn around, it's just blue behind me. I was like, holy shit. But such a fun game.
That's kind of how it is when I used to live in Philly. I used to go to the Eagles games when they played the Giants, or whenever the Knicks came to town. I would see how many Knicks fans and how many Giants fans actually dare to go to Philadelphia.
Now, since you're saying that, that's another thing. That's what was coming up, but I backed out of it. It was a bad experience because of what I said of it. A gentleman is giving a trip. I don't know which game, but we did this before. We had a bus trip to Philly. He had 4 buses.
Oh, that takeover with King?
Oh my God! I think what was it? Eric King.
Yeah, Eric King.
Well, he's doing it again, but that is not a good experience. It's not a good. It's like going into. I don't know how to say it. You get eaten up. There's fans there in Philly, but it's not the same like being in the Garden. It's not the same. It's not. Even if you go to a net like the Knicks and the Nets and they're playing in Brooklyn, you can go and still enjoy that as a Knicks fan. But going to Philly, it wasn't a good experience on the bus going there. And then the Knicks win. It's not
Oh
good.
God.
Yeah,
See,
it's not good.
I've heard about these little takeover fan trips that they take to other cities.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes they're brutal. Sometimes they are
yeah.
very brutal. I've been to Fenway. I've been to to Chicago. I've been to those kind of places. I've been to
Force
Miami.
is the worst.
Right, and
Which one? What's the worst?
Boston.
I mean,
Boston is the
Fenway.
worst.
Fenway's a kind of a cool ballpark, but yeah, I mean the fans are kind of crazy.
It's a cool ballpark. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah,
It's a
the
great ballpark.
fans.
And you can feel the history and everything, but
They don't respect
during
the other.
during the heat of that rivalry, it was terrifying. Because you can't cheer too loud because then you draw attention to yourself. But then it's like
What drew the attention was the colors itself. That orange and blue, that drew the attention. That stood out. That was it. You didn't even have to yell and scream. Just you got.
I gotta say, I wouldn't want to wear a Yankee jersey at Fenway. I feel like there are just always crazy people out there. Like I have to say, like all the Bills fans at the Jet game, no matter how, like everyone was respectful of each other, which is nice.
yeah. We see that's today. Like over the last 10, 15 years, when I went to Fenway, I did go in Yankee gear, and I swear to God, I felt like I was back either in Iraq or Afghanistan because that's what it felt like. It felt like you were going into enemy territory. You're there, and they don't want you there, and you have to watch your back. I mean, I had to have a spotter when I had to go to the bathroom. I had to have one of my boys, watch my back real quick. And
I went to the Mets playoff game when recently when they beat the Padres, the only game they won. But at the game, there was Padres fans where Mets fans would not leave them alone. And then a little bit later in the game, I see two Mets fans get kicked out of the game because they just would not leave the Padres fans alone. They were just harassing them. And I'm like, I mean, I get you want to cheer for your team and blah blah blah. Let's just just cheer in the game. Don't harass people at the game.
I lived in Boston in the late 90s when the Red Sox had that 50-year streak going. So if you think it was bad before, it was real bad then.
My worst experience of that was back in 1996. I went to the old Yankee Stadium. It was game one. It was the Jeffrey Mayer game.
Oh, wow.
And I was in the bleachers with my dad, and we were covered in beer. Neither one of us drank because obviously we smelled like weed, and punches were thrown because
Unbelievable.
people just don't know how to act. There was a kid that was sitting next to me. He was wearing an Orioles hat, and he's not really an Orioles fan. He just likes it. And the guys around him were damn near threatening to kill him. And I'm like, no, just get that hat off, bro. And it's not worth it. And people take fandom a little bit too far. You lose the essence of fandom. Is now just becoming just a territorial gang war.
Yeah, it's kind of like people. It's almost like you're going to war. Basically, this is my team, and people get too involved into it.
It's like Matt. Yeah, it's like Madhatter says. It is a uniform. It's merch for us, but when we put it on, it's like a uniform because even in New York, we're repping the hometown team, but some people, were like, you're really rocking Knicks. I'm like, yeah.
My first time ever flying was back in March, and I mean ever. It was beautiful for me. I went to California. Anyway, here I go, suitcase full of Knicks gear, shorts. It was still cold here, so I said, I'm going, taking everything. My wife begged me, my daughter begged me, everybody begged me, do not wear Knicks stuff to California. I wore hats and things, but they said, please don't wear that stuff. People are crazy out there. You never know. We went to Hollywood. So that was another thing. We was in Hollywood. So, yeah. I already got hey, Spike Lee just wearing the hat. So imagine
Yeah, you
in
could
Hollywood.
probably get in everywhere. They're like, oh, a
I mean,
spike.
it gets-
Drinks aren't us.
I mean, talk is cheap, and I usually show it. I have pictures of my phone. We had tourists one time, one year on 42nd, and I usually walk through there because it's beautiful. You see anything. So it was some tourists there, about 60 school students. I'm not too sure if it was China or Japan. I'm not too sure, but they were in their uniforms, and one of the girls was looking, and one of the boys said, "Spike Lee." And I mean, you should have seen them rallied up, and they was all taking pictures and doing this. And one guy walked up, and he looking, and he said, "Man, you know you're not Spike Lee." And walked away. It was hilarious because all these school kids, and they was, they had their book bags, and they really thought I was Spike Lee. It was something else. It was something else. That's why I say, yeah, we got to get that going. I have pictures where I have screenshots of him where he's sitting at the garden and he's doing a certain thing, and I have on the same colors, the glasses, because these are prescription. I had regular smaller glasses, but I changed them on purpose. My prescriptions. I have 4 pair of these big square glasses. These are not novelties. Yeah, they're not novelties. They prescription. These are my glasses. So that also put in that persona, the big square. The Mars Blackman.
Mars Blackman, yeah.
Yes. So, yeah. I love it.
We're not making you late for work, are we?
Oh no, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. In that little bit of time, I came in, went to the main hospital. I work in a clinic. That's what I do all night. So I go to the main hospital to punch in, and then it's a transformation. That's why I said I need a commercial. So I transformed, and now I got on my work uniform, my work keys. I look at the keys and what's on my keys. Always.
There you go.
Always. Oh yeah, always in the heart. Always. Got my Nick mug, my coffee mug. That's what the big mug is about.
John, when I interviewed you, you had 600 Knicks caps.
Yeah.
That's like a year ago, man. Now you have 720 or something?
Yeah, like 720 now.
Did you
Some of
actually
them
count them, or you just guesstimated?
No, I was counting. Once I got to like 570, then I estimated. Then now I counted some more, and then I mean, keep seeing them. I have them in cases.
Yeah.
They're not like on.
Oh, I believe you.
Yeah,
I believe you.
Hat cases, nice hat cases, big ones, small ones. Yeah, I have a 4-room apartment, and it's just me and my wife.
I'm
now
only at 50,
Cleo,
and my wife is mad at me.
Yeah, and then I have a corner. She won't give me nothing but a corner. So keep seeing it. So I have a Nick corner, but I make an illusion and it looks like everything. But I have a corner in my bedroom with all my horror, because I'm as passionate as my horror.
Your Chucky doll.
Chucky.
You have another love, basically. The horror.
Horror. Oh,
I think we all allowed to have one.
People think I'm horror. It's like Jason is like Patrick Ewing. Jason Voorhees.
More than Freddy?
You know what?
You don't like? I love Freddy. I don't know.
Come on, Jason Voorhees, man. Jason Voorhees.
I was a Mike Myers guy.
I was gonna say Mike Myers. Also, I might put ahead of Voorhees. I don't know.
No, Voorhees is top, man. The movies is part 1, part 2, 3. I mean, 1 was the only one he wasn't in. Which everyone
doesn't know that. Basically, everyone gets that trivia question wrong.
Oh yeah, same thing. Okay, so which one Michael Myers was? Which Halloween Michael Myers
the
was
third
not,
one. The third one.
Thank you.
Because that was the season of the witch one with the
doctor
put the poison in the candy.
Yeah.
It was like left field over your head.
I'll say Voorhees may win actually because he's the only one that has done murder in space.
And Manhattan.
And Manhattan.
I like that one. Yeah.
Yes, that one. Yeah, Jason Take Manhattan. Yeah, and space. Well, that was in the future.
I actually saw Jason versus Freddy twice in the theaters. I was so excited. I mean, only twice, but I've seen it since also on video. But I was so excited for that movie.
No, I watch that movie every other week. I mean, it's so bad. My kids grew up on horror movies. Kids will have nightmares, not my children. They grew up. I mean, we have categories. We have our zombies. We talk about our zombies, our slow zombies, our fast zombies. We talk about our vampires, our now vampires and our real. I mean, horror. It's like it's my love. Halloween, forget about it. It's
I liked your
everything to me.
costume. You had a great costume.
Oh, thank you, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate the steampunk. The
yeah, that was cool.
steampunk.
Yeah.
What is this? Plague Doctor. The Plague
Mm,
Doctors.
mm,
For Halloween, this is okay. But the month of October at the beginning, I wore a lot of Nick stuff. October, and I was trying to adopt a cat, and I was trying to get this cat for 3 weeks. I mean, God, I had a list of cats. One cat I fell in love with, Cleo. Black cat, got her in my house, adopted her. She disappeared in my house the way I had to track her because she has a tracker and she
mm.
was in the house. She came out after 3 days and like she'd been here 5-6 years. Two of my sisters came to a Halloween party. One had on Nick uniforms and the other one came in a big black cat uniform. And it was everything to me because they TikTokers. So they was like, oh, you got famous with the wearing the Nick stuff and having the cat. So they put me on TikTok. I didn't realize I never did TikTok. 2 days I've been doing TikTok. Every Nick stuff that I put on there on TikTok, and that's said 2 days, I got over 600-700 likes just
Wow.
with the Nick. Yeah, and they say,
Wow.
hey, this guy look like Spike Lee.
TikTok's the
2
big
days.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I never
Yeah,
knew. I
it's
never knew it. Yeah. But I only been a TikToker for 2 days.
Wow.
And I uploaded maybe 5 videos and already got like 600-700 likes on one video just sitting there in Nick gear.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah. It's my love. I love this. I love it. Most guys ain't into much and have any passion into things, but this team, win, lose, or draw, Keith, I just love this team. And I don't say anything negative because people see it. No matter what you post it, people will see a negative feedback. Hey, you know what? Next time, because you don't win every fight. There's always through life, no matter what. Mike Tyson, no matter who, there's always someone on top, and there's always someone to come behind. That's what the design is. We just have to get it together to where we need to be on top now, because it's been a long time.
Yeah.
50
It's been
years.
a long time. Oh God. Yeah, my whole lifespan, and it's that time.
I gotta run. Thanks again, guys. It's been awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
I'll post this tomorrow morning, and I'll email you guys the link to it.
Yeah, send us a
Thank you,
link. I
guys.
appreciate it.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay,
thanks,
guys.
Take care.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
All right, bye.
stop bleeding like for 2-3 months, but then we'll go from there, something like that, you know. And he said, is that okay with you because your mom is still, intubated? And she said yes. So, and then when they hung up, he goes, can you go get a Botox? I said, well, you put an order, And he said no. I'm like, well, you have to put an order. I mean, how am I supposed to get the, the Botox? And he kind of didn't know. So I then he called Cheryl, right? We thought he was going to scrub out to put an order. I called Cheryl, I explained to her, I said, hey, I have a question, Dr. Coleman, like, ask the patient order for 4 times, and she's like, is it on,